going on, boys? We're talking PDWs today. Specifically, this thing is my ultimate PDW that I have in an earlier video. If you want to check that out, you can see more information on this thing. And then compare it to the SIG Rattler and the Maxim Defense PDX that I had earlier. And that's what sparked me to build this gun. The main flaw in those two systems was that they were PDWs designed from the ground up to be working with 300 blackout. The SIG even having an adjustable gas block, yet they can't shoot subsonic ammunition without a back pressure silencer, without an aftermarket accessory that readily can fail and readily comes off for a million reasons. That gun is 100% dependent on in order for it to run. That is insane, and it's unacceptable for a self-defense weapon, personal defense weapon, PDW, which is what they're branded as. It's just insane. And I'm going to explain that right here. So right here, we have an OSS can. This specifically is a flow-through silencer. Now it adds very little to no back pressure into a gun, which is extremely beneficial for no gas in the face, so it's much more pleasurable for the shooter. It's more healthy. The military just decided that they want all of their silencers to be, actually, ironically enough, SIG SLX suppressors, which do the exact same thing as this OSS, but SIG's most common flagship big whiz-bang suppressor can't even work with their PDW because it requires a specific plus back pressure can. Now, why is this so stupid? Because 300 blackout is designed to be able to go from supersonic to subsonic with the change of a magazine, with it most popular being subsonic. Guys hunt with it subsonic. They want a nice quiet PDW, and they put in a backpack, truck gun, put it in a suitcase, stuff like that, and they want it to work with subsonic ammunition. The problem is that these things, the SIG Rattler, this thing, the PDX, they don't fit in normal backpacks with a silencer attached. Not only that, if you could get a giant backpack which looks conspicuous that can fit it with the silencer, there's tons of reasons why you will not have your silencer on your gun. As far as travel is concerned, that's a pain in the ass when you want to take your silencer. If you want to go to training classes or something like that, and you go to a state that you're not supposed to have a silencer. You're supposed to go to a county where you're not supposed to have your silencer. Stuff like that. That's a pain in the ass. I have this one silencer, and it goes on my SCAR in 308. It goes on this gun. It can go on my M1A. It can go on my AK. It can go on everything. And I take it off and on constantly to put on other guns. If I want to have this gun set up for nice and quiet personal defense with subsonic ammo, every time I take this off, if it was a Rattler or a PDX, it would be fucking useless. That is completely unacceptable. Not only that, but on a self-defense weapon, you don't see this a lot on silencer videos, but these things can fail pretty easily. If you're taking this gun hunting, you're going through the woods, something like that, or maybe you're in an actual self-defense world where it's like riots, shit like that. If you ever drop a silencer in the dirt, drop it in the mud, and debris gets inside of it, it can be very hazardous for the use of that silencer, especially in traditional baffle cans, where rocks and mud can get inside, and then you can get baffle strikes. You can get increased pressure and dirt hitting the actual round, rattling inside of it all the time. You know, if military guys, if they drop their silencer in some thick ass mud, a lot of times they're gonna take it off. You know, you can't risk the point of impact shift with that thing hitting rocks and dirt every single time you fire around. And then if you get a baffle strike ever, now the suppressor has changed internally. Whether or not it's bad or even just a little bit, and it just hits like the end cap or something, that now changes your point of impact. So now you're not even hitting, and you don't even know where you're hitting now that you're shooting. So it's just completely unacceptable for this gun to not work with this external accessory or without this external accessory. Especially for SIG, who made that gun, the Rattler, from the ground up to put in their manual that it's not meant to shoot subsonic ammo without a back pressure can, without their flagship can, without this. Because I didn't even get to send it back because they wouldn't let me. I tried to send my Rattler back to get it troubleshooted because I was like, hey, this thing isn't working with my silencer. And they're like, oh, what silencer is it? And OSS, and they're like, oh, well, we don't actually support any silencers but our own. And that was before they made the SLX. So now they'll be like, oh, well, we don't even support our own silencers on the SIG Rattler with subsonic ammo. It's just insane. Now you have a bolt action gun or just completely inaccurate gun because of point impact shifts because they didn't make it properly in the first place. Now I'm going to show you guys this thing right here. Let's screw this off so that you guys can see how a PDW is supposed to work. Now, we're on the range, pop that out. So now I have a fully functioning PDW in subsonic ammunition. Okay, 3 rounds. Now let's see if I can get it to lock back. Okay, locks back. Guys, this is what you want in a PDW. This gun is direct impingement, non-adjustable gas system that can run with a brake, which actually reduces back pressure a little bit. So it even has less back pressure with this than any other accessory, and it can lock back and shoot 220 grain subsonic ammo. All right, now let's throw the silencer on real quick. However, honestly, this silencer isn't going to add any sort of back pressure. All it's going to do is force the gases to go in some crazy tornado pattern through the silencer itself and make the gun significantly quieter. So let's drop the bolt. That's the awesome ambi bolt release. So now I have a nice quiet gun shooting subsonics. Look at how small it is. We can shrink it down all the way down to this big, and I can shoot even not against my shoulder. We get locked back. Guys, that's what you want in a PDW. If your PDW cannot function without your external aftermarket accessory, it is not fit to be a personal defense weapon. It needs to have, this is kind of the same concept as backup iron sights, if you like to run backup iron sights. It's the same concept as having extra batteries on you. It's the same concept as having a backup gun, stuff like that. Any kind of fail-safe, especially for your primary gun to stop working, like cold turkey because you had a failure on an external accessory, especially one that's so easy to happen, like dropping your silencer in the mud, and now you're endangering the silencer itself, you're endangering your ability to make reliable shots. It's just unacceptable on every level. So guys, if you cannot shoot subs reliably in your Rattler, in your PDX, without your silencer, you need to try to think about finding a gun that can do it, because I have made countless guns like this for myself, for friends, other people. I have shot many different guns that are about this size that can work with subsonic ammunition without an accessory. That is very important. So if you're paying $2,600 for a gun that is ineffective at being a self-defense weapon in adverse conditions, you need to think about that. Think about what kind of risks you're willing to take for the size of the gun. And that's it, guys. That's my little spiel on PDWs, how they should work. Catch you later.